Hey folks, it's Thursday and we are doing some development again, as we do just about every day at the moment. So, as per the title, and hello everyone in chat, we are going to take a look at a main menu. And in this case, we are using an asset which my partner wants to use. We're using a couple of things from it, and to speed up development here, I'm going to use the main menu from it. Okay, now it is the third person story advanced template or something. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but this is it here. And what I have done is copied over the main menu widget. Okay. And basically what I have done in this case, and I'll explain the problems we have and how we are going to fix them. Now, you guys, if you're using assets out there, you will probably come across these type of issues as well. But being newer to Unreal Engine, you may not know how to fix them. Okay, so we're going to take a look here, and I'm going to troubleshoot. I've only had a look at one error so far, and I think there's 4 to begin with. And we're going to talk about what's causing the error and how we fix it. And that might mean moving some code from certain elements into other new elements. So, without further ado, let's look at what we've got. And I'll explain how I put this together. So, the first thing I did was I created, in the maps, I created a main menu folder. In here, I created a blank player controller for the main menu, and I created a game mode for our main menu. Okay? And also I created the level. Okay? And then in the widgets, I basically copied the main menu widget from our asset. And it looks like, and I basically did one change to it, which we can take a look at in a second. I basically moved the sort of main buttons, wrapped it in a border, then used this image from the Vikings asset and wrapped it with that so that we get a nice Viking-y type thing. Now you'll notice here that we've also got another thing, which is the title container. We can probably delete that. Right, but first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the issues. Okay, and we're going to fix them and talk about them as we do it. So, this is what it looks like when we bring it up. We can do all the good stuff here. I've not changed any of this. This is all default stuff. Okay. That's all nice. New game. Okay, we can take a look at that later. So, if I quit the game, you'll notice we have 3 errors. Okay, now for the purposes for you guys, what I'm going to do is Originally, these two were plugged in, okay? And I was just going to leave them like this, as removed for now, as a little reminder to actually do something with this, right? But if I dismiss this, right, and I run this again, okay, and then I immediately stop it, you'll notice now we have 4 errors, okay? Now, this first error here is show mouse cursor in here, okay? And that is basically these two here, okay? And this is basically why I stopped these, okay? Now, this is the BP story advanced function library, which is kind of interesting. Okay. Now, as you will see here, it passes back the game mode, okay? And that's all it does, okay? So what we can actually do here is we know that this blueprint is going to have those two functions, okay? So in theory, if we take a look now in our TP SAT, then we go to here, and I'm not too sure where this is. It could be in here. Yep, this is it here. Game controller. This is it here, okay? Now, we want to have a look at this again. So it's the BP Story Advanced Game Mode. So it's not this one, because this is Story Advanced Menu. What we want is this one, right? Now, I also know that this function here is causing us a problem as well, okay? But we're not going to worry about that for now. What we're going to worry about is the two functions which is these two here, okay? So what we can do is do this, copy that, right? Then we go to our main menu. Actually, we go to here, browse, and then we'll go to our game mode. Then we shall open it up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create a function, right? Then we're going to paste in our code, okay? We'll save that for now. We'll go back to here and we'll see what it's hide mouse cursor. So this one is hide mouse cursor. And what we'll actually do is, in the meantime, we shall copy this. We shall go back to our, and this is going to be called show mouse cursor. Okay, and then we'll paste that in there. Now for this, because it's getting a generic player controller, that is absolutely fine. And this is going to be hide mouse cursor. Okay. So, in here, if we go back to here, what we can actually do is get game mode. Okay, and because we've not really got it in a function, and this is in a function library, which we could do later, what we can do is we can say cast to main menu game mode. Okay. And now what we, oops, let's not do that. What we can now do is drag these out and we can basically show mouse cursor, right, and we can duplicate that and out of here we can hide mouse cursor. And we're going from that, and then just to tidy things up a bit, we can drag these out, then put that there and put that there, compile it, and that will have, should have removed this error. Okay, so if we press play, then we press stop, you'll notice we've only got 3 errors now. So that is our first error fixed. Now it appears that we've got a couple more functions that are exactly the same, that are causing us the same problem. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to get this one, and we're going to see what this thing is. Well, it looks like it actually looks like we want to take a different, we might actually want to take a different, what I'm going to do here is going to rename this as GM underscore old, even though it's only just new, right? And we're in the main menu, and what we're going to do is we're going to grab this and we're going to duplicate it. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag it to here. Right? And then in here we are going to change this to we're going to change the player controller to MMPC, and we are going to clear the default pawn because we don't want a pawn. And we'll save that. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to rename this as MM game mode. Just so that we, right. So we are going to have to still slightly change this. And the one thing we're going to have to do here is go into our main menu, level, and change this to MM game mode. Then save it. Right? And in theory, we should have the same 4 errors again, but it's going to be easier to fix this time. Right? So if I just press stop, we're going to get our 4 errors again. Well, actually, we're down to 3, which is good. Okay. Now, I think that this text current language is we have got text current language. Text underscore current language. Right? And it appears that this is our issue. Okay? So what we can do is say get game mode cast to game mode, plug this in here, what we say is return current language, right, and that goes there. And then we say languages, and that goes there. Right? And that should in theory get rid of that first error. Hi somebody, how are you, mate? Right, so we'll get rid of that. Unpressed button language. Right. So I've got a funny feeling that my partner has mucked about with some of the actual menu. So we're just going to kind of ignore that error for now, and we're going to check how many errors we've got left. Been chilling today. Nice one. I've got an itchy leg. Excuse me a second. Right, so we have no errors. Okay. We now have 0 errors, which I'm quite surprised about, to be fair. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that. And yeah, that button language doesn't exist apparently. I'm not buying it though. Apparently it doesn't actually exist in here. Right, so that's a bit strange. I'll need to ask my partner on that one what's going on as far as that button language goes, because I would expect that to be there. Because here's all the language stuff. Right? But having said that, maybe not actually. It might actually be superfluous. Because, yeah, right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll see if there's anything that's relating to that. right? If we click on language, that's the next button, that's the previous button. Right, apparently that's not working. Okay, whatever. No, you're not going to find any books. You're not going to find any books. Or, well, Unreal Engine 4, no, I don't know. I don't know, I've never used a book, so... Okay, so we have a lot of errors here. Next language. Right, so we're back to this problem. Right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to change these. Right, if I'm going to have to change these, I'm as well doing a function library and doing it the same way. Right. So what we're going to do is a function library. We're going to say Groenland land. We'll say blueprint BFL for blueprint function library. Groenland, and we'll make it for main menu. So this is going to store the main menu functions, right? And this is going to be called get menu game mode. Right, now if we actually have a look at this particular function in here, right, we get the game mode, right, cast it and go. Okay, I was just making sure that's what I thought it did. So what we do is we get game mode, cast to game mode. Right. Can we? Yeah, apparently not. Okay, so GM, and it's going to be underscore game mode. And there we go. there won't be any books on Unreal Engine 5 because it's not been out long enough, right? So that's fairly obvious. On Unreal Engine 4, don't know. I'm sure there's some books, but having never actually read any of them, I don't know. What did I call that? Get menu game or get menu game go. Okay. So get menu game what? Get menu game mode. Wait a minute. Right. This should be pure. Save. Back to here. Right. That should be. YouTube. There's a few on materials and various other things, but fundamentally, you'll just come across them as you look for things. Okay, as I said, I've never used a particular resource extensively that you haven't come across yourself. Learning courses, don't know. The problem with learning courses is that they never quite, it's the same as assets, they never quite do exactly what you want. Right? So that was next language. So we now want previous language. And previous language, we're now going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to get menu game mode. So I'm sorry, I can't really give you very much advice on that because number one, I've really never used a particular website, a particular book, haven't got any books, haven't looked at any books. I would just say that my main resource is normally practice, muck about, look at other people's stuff from YouTube and whatever, and then adapt it, try to get the fundamentals. So if what I say to people is, if you're using a tutorial, don't use the tutorial to do something. Use the tutorial to get the concept of how to do something, right? So that you can then do it yourself from scratch, right? Right, so I'm still going for this button doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't actually exist. It must have existed in a previous life or something, right? Now, our next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this and we're gradually going to fix any problems. So I'm guessing that it's crashed. Fantastic. Whatever. The I'll say this somebody, right? If what I find is people that are new to Unreal Engine want some sort of magic bullet, right? They want some book, one tutorial, one thing that's suddenly going to basically answer every question that they have, and it just doesn't exist, right? You don't just suddenly become an expert at Unreal Engine. No, you don't need to look at every single node on every single blueprint, right? Learn to do the things that you need to do, right? So if you're going to make a main menu, look up a tutorial, but don't use the tutorial as a stand-in for your work, right? Follow the concepts of what it's doing, but then implement it yourself. Okay? Because especially if it's not an official, let's say, Unreal Engine tutorial, right? You can guarantee that there'll be mistakes in it, or ways of doing things that aren't optimal, or something like that, right? Now, that is going to be basically over your head if you're a beginner, right? But you'll get the basic concepts of like making widgets, adding widgets to the screen, making widgets disappear, appear, blah, 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 right? Now, if you look at all the widgets, you don't need to know every single thing that a widget can do or not do, and every single node that is associated with that widget, right? All you need to do at first is pick up the basics of what you're trying to do, right? And as you get a little more experienced, you'll begin to look into other things that basically you want to be able to do. We loaded the wrong map, or we didn't load a map. Right. Did that open, or is it opening? Or is the game mode screwed? No, it's got the right thing. That's right. Okay. Let's press play again. Okay, there we go. Right. In fact, before I press any buttons here, right, we're going to do that. Right. There we go. So now we have this working. And we have no errors. Right? Now, I'm pretty sure we're going to get errors when we do other things. Or maybe not, actually. Well, if we go to graphics, I'm pretty sure these buttons are going to screw up. Yeah, thought so. We aren't getting an error, though. right? Let us just check again with one thing here. Let's go to here. Right, so these are still working okay. The resolution one isn't doing anything. Right, so the question here is why are we not getting resolutions? Right? We're not getting errors, but we definitely are getting nothing when it comes to our so options panel. Okay. So I'm guessing it's loading the options panel, right? So this is obviously a widget. Right? Right, so this is widget panel. Right? So view distance, current resolution. Right, so this button here well, that's interesting. I'm just wondering if this button, yeah, on press, this is going to do something. Right? Now, the thing I'm wondering about is and this is doing view distance, quality presets, but it's got nothing for the resolutions. Right? I would have expected it to set up initialize arrays, initialize gameplay settings, initialize graphic settings. Right? So okay, somebody. Right, so that's graphic settings. Current shadow. Right. So let's have a look at that again. Resolution. Text current resolution. if we go to the graph now, find references. Alright, that's okay. And that's get the current resolution. So it is adding these, right? And add a breakpoint there, right? Now I'm just wondering, right, so that's okay, it's given us all the different resolutions, right? So that's good. So if we resume that, it's loading that in, we go to options, graphics, okay. And those aren't doing anything. So I am bewildered why these have got nothing. Alright. Like, for example, this preset, basically if you press it, this is it here, right? Now it looks as if this code was originally here, right? Now what I'm thinking is we say update resolution. Yeah, it appears these were always there, but they've been removed for some reason. I'm thinking that my partner in crime has, for some reason, removed these resolutions. Okay. So I'm going to put these back in, but this shows you once again how you can basically figure out how to fix a problem. Right? and we'll get the other one. And it was resolution next on pressed, and these are going to go the other way around. Right, and these make sense to me because basically you're adding one to the array, or you're taking one away, or you're changing the element that is the one that it's looking at. Right, so I'm going to press play on that. And apparently, oh, it had stopped there. Right, which reminds me anyway, I'm just going to do a save all while we're at it. Right, and if we go to graphics now, there we go. Okay, so that's now fixed. Okay. Now I am going to delete this. And we're going to go and grab ourselves a cigarette. So if you're enjoying the stream or getting any benefit from it, then hit the like and subscribe button. You can check out the description for links to my Discord and also my previous game on Steam. Even adding it to your wishlist helps, and also the Patreon. You can support development of this game and development by me and the channel. Back in a minute. Okay guys, we're back and now we can begin to play a bit now that we've got it all functional, right? So let's have a look at it. Okay, we like the fade in, that's good. We're going to stop that for now. We're going to take a look. Okay. And the first thing that we're going to do is select all of these and we can go with that, or we can go with a bit of Nordic, or we can go with a bit of Nordic that. In this instance, I'm kind of deferring to that. Right? And from the point of view of the button container, I'm going to go 250 for the top. Right, but these buttons, I'm going to go with a slightly larger font. I'm going to go 32. Right, and in this case, this title container, that's the position on Y, right? So I'm going to go to here. Right, and then we can also go to the options panel and basically we can go to here right, and we can do the same thing right, but this one we can go to 40, and basically these ones we can go to 32, right? This is a bold, right? So in actual fact, for this one, we can do the bold one, and we'll bang it to 32, and then this one we'll set it to the normal, right? Now is this actually a widget switcher? Is it? I don't think it is. It might be though. Right, so that's the left sided bar. Yeah, constant switch. Okay, so the next thing we want to look at is this one. So if we click on this one, we get 24. I'm just going to make sure these are all the same, which they are. Now, is this the same? Yeah, that's the same, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to here. We changed that to 32. So we're also going to go 32 here. Okay? Then we're going to go here and we're going to go click, 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 clicky, click, clicky, click, clicky, and then we're going to say 32, and then we're going to go with that, and then we're going to clicky, 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 clicky. We're going to go 32, and that one. Okay. And we're going to go that one, and then that one, and then we're on this one. So we're going to go clicky, 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 32. We're going to go with bold. Then we'll get this number here. We may change these, but we're going to go with that. And we're going to say 18. Okay. And our next thing and that's weird, unless I just did it in the options. That's okay. Yep, that's working fine. That's working fine. Okay, so we need it in the main menu as well. Okay. And the main menu is here. Oh, well that's interesting. Wow. That's weird. Kinda don't understand this. Unless these buttons are getting set in code. With a font. Alright. Visibility. This is initialize buttons. Image slot background. Interesting. I'm going to compile that for now. Okay. So there's something here that's changing. Our there's something somewhere that's changing our fonts. Right. Image slot background. Array of main buttons. Image slot background. So that's using an image. So the question is, where? And that's changing some padding. Alright. So game slots. So that's image. The button continue. It's a button. I'm wondering Has this got some weird thing in it? Highlight selected element. Alright. What is this selected font? Ah, okay. And I believe we go to 40. Well, that was an interesting one. Uh-huh. We want to find out if this is getting set somewhere. Initialize button settings. Selected font. Get data table font. Right, okay. Right. Now we're getting somewhere. So we'll click on that. We'll say menu. Default font is not that. Right, it's that. And it's 32. Right. And there we go. Right, but we obviously need to do the selected font. Right. And that's going to be the same. That's going to be 32. Okay. And now there we go. But I think what we want to do here, right, just for a laugh, we want to make this like a cool blue. Right? So we'll do that. We'll do a quick save all. Press play. And there we go. Right. beautiful. And don't know what's going on there, but we'll worry about that later. Oh yeah, okay, okay. And okay, whatever. So journal entry. I wonder, right? If I do this and I copy it, right? And then we paste it, and we paste it, and we paste it one more time, save everything, then go back here, press play, and we'll take a look now to see if oh, it's not done it on the options, right? Okay, right, that's fine. Okay. Ah. Right, so we've only got new game, load game options, right? So the new game, okay. So what I'll do here is we'll change this to this one and 32, and we'll see if this is the right one. Nope. It's not that one either. Alright, so it's not the game menu. Now I'm thinking, is it the journal menu that they've just called it like save game, but they've made it a fancy name? Right, or this might be some other weird way of doing it. I might have to have a look at this. Now, this is obviously something, right? So the only one that we haven't changed yet is backpack menu bar. Unless unless these are already preset. But it's definitely getting the blue. Right. Alright, it's pulling the blue for there. Right, so what I'm going to do is we're going to go to main menu and the designer. Right. And this button here, we're going to see what it actually does. Initialize new game. Right. So let's see what this does. Widget index. So it's changing the widget index, right? And I'm going to have to go and take a quick comfort break. I shall be back in 2 minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay, my computer was making weird noises when I was away. People messaging me or something. Oh. Getting messages. Apparently. Right, so back to the fray here. So we're setting a widget switcher and highlight selected element, load slot information. We might have to do something with that. Oh, that's good, somebody. I mean, a lot of it really depends, right? Right, this is our slot switch button, right? Now, if a lot of it depends as well, right? Because at the end of the day, it really depends how you like to learn, right? Because some people learn, like you said earlier, buy a book. What book do I buy? Okay. Now that's all fine, but some people don't learn very well from a book, right? So yeah, there's that. Like some people don't learn very well from a book, some people don't learn very well from videos, some people prefer in person learning, you know. It's one of them things. You can sign up to my top tier Patreon and I will give you an hour's personal tuition per month. As I said, some people like personal tuition, some people like being in a school group type thing. It just really depends. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that's one of the problems with trying to like follow crap. Like follow a multi-part tutorial, right? It tends to, well, if you miss something, you know, then you're kind of screwed. I've done this in a really weird way. I don't know why they didn't make a separate widget for this and just basically fill these in. But then again, who am I to grumble? That's an interesting one. Yeah, that's one of the problems. That's why I say when you follow a tutorial, don't try to follow the tutorial to necessarily do a specific thing. right? You should follow the tutorial only to try and get a concept. Has that got a... Has that got a widgets? Yeah, it's got a switch slot on it. Right, there's the switch slot. Right, okay. So it's this one here that we're interested in. Oh, damn it. So that's the first one, that's the second one, that's the third one. Right, okay, so I need to change that, that, that. Okay. And I'm pretty sure we went to 32. And that. Okay. So, as I said, it depends. Okay, I don't know what that was supposed to do, but anyway. Ah, it's loading. Right, okay. Okie dokie, right. Well, that explains that. I'm guessing now if I press play, right? Ah, see, it's not actually saved the game. If I click on that, right, I'm wondering what no entries in journal. Okay. Now I'm wondering what the button is for bringing up. I'm wondering what the button is to bring up the pause menu, right? So that you can save. Because it's obviously not saving it immediately. Or if it is, then it's not finding it again. Right? Now, this part is all good. We're going to have to create another one here, which is going to have to be master volume. Alright. So I would have thought, right, when you hit this button, right, it would load, it would basically save the game in its default thing. So it's going to save slot 1. Right? Current slot. Does save game exist? if it does, we do that. So our current slot this is, well, if this isn't the right instance, I'm guessing that this is not running properly. Right, but it's still in the wrong place. And what I am thinking is we need to go back to our main menu and we need to find out we've got a toggle continue and we've got a toggle load, right? So this load is not doing its thing, right? Right. Save slot 1 save, right? Does that exist? No. Okay. So this slot does not exist. So the easiest way to look here is if we go in here, we go to saved and then save games and we have nothing, right? So when we're clicking on a new game, it is not creating a new game. Okay. So, oh my dear God. Does save game exist? If it's false, right? So I'm going to add a breakpoint here. I'm going to press play. I'm going to say new game. Okay. So that's it checking to see if anything exists. Okay. Then we're going to resume. Those animatronics are really well made. Okay. Which animatronics are we talking about? So if we look at this one and then we look at the button, which is this one here, we select the slot and we load the game. If it's a new game, we check if it exists, right? Add breakpoint there. Joy of Creation Reborn. Eh? I don't understand where that crazy mad idea or wherever that came from, basically. And you expect me to know a game from 2016 that you just randomly mentioned? Right, so I think it's fallen down at this game instance, right? So what I'm thinking is, if we're going to use the instance, we have to set the instance, right? So in here, game session. Right, so it would appear in our maps and modes, do we have that set? Apparently we do. Okay. Right, okay. Okay, so that looks alright. If indeed that's what we're doing. Right, so back to here. And back to this button. And back to here. And it's going to stop there. Right, we can dismiss that because that's just basically showing that stuff. Right, then if we do that, does a game exist? We can step over. We know that it didn't exist, right? and we can then step into, right, step over, and it does get the right game instance. So we can step into this and find out why it is not I think it's this. Right, so the current level whatever this is, it's going to be nothing. And that's going to basically fail out. Right, so if I step over this, it's going to not basically go to here. Okay, maybe it is. Step over. Step over. Step over. Right, it's not actually, it's not saving the right thing. It's not saving at all, actually. Right, when it does the new game, it's not saving it. Right? So you must need to actually hit the save game button, whichever button that is, right, to actually save the game. Starting the game does not save it immediately, right, at the start of the level, even though I would say it should. Right? So I'm going to stop that for now. Right? And then I'm just wondering if the demo character has a button to bring up the menu, or B, a button to save. Right, so I'm first going to check in our input buttons to see what there is. Top action, left action, right action, sprint, next page, blah 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 blah. Interact. Right. Next page, previous page. Game menu. Escape or P. Okay. So in theory, if I go like that, then go like that, then resume, it's going to load the level. Don't know what it's doing here. Right, okay. So if we press P and we press, oh, look at that. Right. It said game saved, right? So if I now press play again, it's got continue and load game. Right, okay. I'm going to escape that. Okay, have fun, somebody. Sounds like good fun. I'm going to leave it for here. I'm going to have a look at some of this stuff otherwise. And I'm going to be back later tonight at 8 p.m. If you've enjoyed the stream, be sure to hit the like and subscribe. Check out the description for links to my Discord. There's a link to my previous game on Steam, and even adding that to your wish list helps out a lot. And finally, if you want to support the game, support the channel, there's a link to the Patreon, which would also help out a lot. And thank you all for watching. Bye bye for now.